Rick Pietri, Jacksonville State University.
Tell us your general thoughts about your upcoming season.
You know, my thoughts about this upcoming season really hinge on our health. We've got a lot of health issues with our roster right now, and so a lot of the outcome will depend upon who's actually in uniform for us on game day. You know, right now our preseason all-conference player is not with us and will not be with us till at least January. So without her services, we're not the same team. She's probably one of the top 5 players in the league. So without Desi McClin, we're not the same. So we'll have to figure out how to manage her absence. And also we've got some other players in our program that aren't particularly healthy right now. So we've got to figure out who we're going to have access to. And once we figure that out, then we can figure out where we're headed.
What do you like about your team this year?
Well, I think we've got, in terms of our roster, I think we've got some kids who do a bunch of different things. We've got some kids who shoot it well from the perimeter. We've got some kids who are athletic and run very well. We have some kids who deliver the ball well. So we've got a nice balance of different abilities. And so it's just trying to weave them all together into a unit that works is you know, what we look forward to.
And you sort of said this, but what's your biggest challenge for your team this year?
The biggest challenge for our team right now is literally to figure out who we are, because of the fact, like I said, when you're missing your best player, you have to figure out what your identity is and what we're going to look like without her is the biggest thing. And so as we move forward, we literally have to figure out what do we look like, how do we function, how do we take up the slack, and then once we figure that out, we proceed and we move on.
And what do you think about the OVC overall this year?
I think the OVC is an incredibly competitive league when you look at the number of veteran coaches that are running these programs. We had a number of teams that were very competitive in terms of having a legitimate chance of winning the league last year. And so I think with what Tennessee Martin has proven on the women's side for the last 2 years, they've dominated, and so it's the onus is on the rest of us in this league to be able to take up the slack, and so we'll see whether that happens this year or not.
And what will it take for your team to cut down the nets in Nashville in March?
You know, for us to cut down the nets in Nashville in March, we're going to need to build an incredible chemistry with our group. We had 2 key departures off last year's team, which we were expecting. So we expected and had a plan of how to take up their slack. Again, without Desi McClin, perhaps we'll have to figure out another way. And then once we figure that out, just blend well, because many times throughout my career in coaching, I've had groups that equaled more than the sum of their parts. And so if we can make that happen this year, then possibly some really good things can happen for us.
Got one more. Good. And what impact, if any, will some of the rule changes have on the game this season?
I think the bonus issue in terms of rule changes this year, which is 5 fouls for the bonus in each period, I think that will change things a lot from a standpoint that maybe some might not think. When you can reset the number of fouls at each quarter, it means I think we're going to see a lot more fouling done, which I don't think is going to be good for our game. I like the bonus rules the way they were, and again, I think a byproduct now is you can commit 5, 6, 7 fouls, but then at 10 minutes for the next quarter, it starts over again, you're back to 0, and you get 4 more times to hack somebody before they get to shoot free throws. So that's a concern of mine. I think the period layout is fine, but the bonus situation, the penalties, is the thing that concerns me moving forward.